I'm a science guy, and I really wanted the science, and I've never looked back and had a moment's consideration about whether I made the right move or not. It was obvious to me to come to National. By the time I was in clinic, I was hot to trot. I was ready to come out and heal the world. And so we really did a lot of homework as to where to open our practice, and we opened our practice here in Chicago, in a suburb of Chicago. And the first day we opened, we had 33 new patients. And it was that way from day one. We were successful day one because we had passion for what we were doing, and we helped a lot of people. It's not just a spine that's functioning well. It's not just having balanced biochemistry. It's not just meditating. It's not just any one thing. There's no cookbook. There's no shotgun answer. When there's a healthcare problem, usually the symptoms are not what you have to address. What you have to address is the mechanism that's causing the problems. And unfortunately, many doctors get caught in looking at the symptoms and just focusing on symptoms. One of those underlying mechanisms is almost always food sensitivities. There's almost always a component that has to be looked at, and what I found over the years was gluten was a very, very common one. People are getting these gluten-related disorders earlier in life because of it's called a lack of immune tolerance. That more people are getting sicker earlier in life. It's not that testing's getting better, it's that more people are getting sicker because our world is so toxic. We're exposed to so many toxins now that the immune system gets so overwhelmed that it becomes incapable of dealing with the gluten. In the last number of years, I've been traveling pretty extensively and teaching all over the world. I had the honor of being a keynote speaker in Brazil last year in 2011, and I'm going to be a keynote speaker again this year there. And I was at the Royal Society of Medicine in London just a few months ago, which is the oldest health institution in the English language. And it was so wonderful to be in these old libraries with these books that are hundreds of years old in this old wood, and know that doctors have been there for a few hundred years talking about health issues. My vision is that every school, especially chiropractic schools, every healthcare school, trains their students coming out as young practitioners to recognize that this epidemic of gluten sensitivity is so prevalent. For the last 30 years, I have been a guest lecturer, adjunct faculty here, and I speak to the 8th trimester students about how to open a practice successfully, because students will be graduating within a year at that point, and they've learned so much information. They're really good diagnosticians, but many times that doesn't translate into opening a practice successfully. And you've got lots of bills to pay. You've got an education to pay for, right? And so I'll talk about some of the mechanisms and how they can prepare in this next year so that they're more likely to be really successful when they open the way that we were.